Hi, this is Rosy Aronson, Blossoming Guide and Authenticity Counselor. I know something about blossoming in my life because I've spent years resisting it and being terrified of it. Ever since I can remember, I believed that my whole life purpose was basically to sacrifice my needs for the needs of others and to hide my light. So that's pretty much what I did for a really, really long time. But when I graduated from college, I made an unusually self-celebrating move to Europe, where I experienced a kind of cultural freedom that I had never felt before. And after totally indulging my artistic passions for a year, I trained and worked as a breath worker, then as an arts therapist, and eventually thrived as a counselor, teacher, and author. Just before I turned 30, my Danish husband Kim and I decided to go on an adventure and move back to America. I was especially excited to bring all I had learned at the cutting edge of the transpersonal psychology and humanistic movement in Europe back home to the States. But instead of bringing the new and improved me home, I hit a giant wall. It turned out my professional credentials and experience abroad were not going to be recognized, so I had to start all over. So to make ends meet, I ended up taking a job, believe it or not, as a dental assistant. And even though I was working for a wonderful woman, and I actually learned a ton about dentistry, I felt like I had landed on another planet. Still, I managed to hold it together until one day a very innocent, sweet dental patient looked up at me and asked, "So, Rosie, is it your dream to one day become a dentist?" And it just hit me like a sledgehammer that I was living somebody else's life. The person I'd become in Europe was completely gone. I thank God that Kim was there to hold me while I melted into a puddle of tears and misery. But of course, it wasn't enough that he remembered who I was or what I was capable of. I had to remember. I had to find a way to get back into the center of my own life. The road back home to myself and authentic life was a long, windy, and painful one. It took years. I had to face and work through many of those deep, dark, old conditioning messages about love, success, and happiness that had pretty much hijacked my psyche the day I returned to my homeland. This is why I so deeply desire to make that path home shorter, more fun, and smooth for others. And why in the Design to Blossom program, I combine the 3 essential ingredients that have helped me blossom in my own life. The creative process, which requires a sense of playful adventure and a willingness to dive into the unknown. Human design, an incredibly practical system for understanding and liberating one's uniqueness. And community. If I've learned anything, it's that we're not meant to blossom on our own. We're also not designed to blossom in the same way, or at the same pace, or in the same place. That's one of the things that's so amazing when you learn how you are designed. I'll just share a couple of examples here. You might be what we call a generator, like me. If this is true, this means that too much pushing and pursuing can actually be unhealthy for you. You're designed to be responsive. So one of your biggest life's lessons is to stop initiating and instead to start allowing life to come to you so it can light you up and you then can be free to go with the flow. Or you might be what we call a projector, someone who's primarily relational, which means that who you're doing something with is so much more important than what you're actually doing, or where you're doing it, or when you're doing it, or how quickly or how much you're doing it. For you, it may be about being gotten by somebody and being invited into a situation, genuinely. Or you might have what we call an inner truth compass or authority that's essentially splenic, which means you're designed to be spontaneous and trust your in-the-moment instincts. Or you might have what we call emotional authority, which means that you're designed to go slow, to feel out people, situations, and opportunities over time, sometimes even a long period of time before knowing deep down who and what is right for you. I cannot tell you how helpful a knowledge of your design can be in your life. And my guess is that you found your way here to this website because there is more wonderfulness inside of you that's ready to be seen, heard, and expressed than you realize. So if you're curious to know how you're designed, or if you relate to any aspect of my story, then I really encourage you to scroll down and learn more about the program. There's a ton of information here. And please sign up if you get a yes. It would be such an honor for me to support your blossoming.